व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी वल्लभा यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जय यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी गिरिवरदारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री श्री गौनिताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की गंधरा श्रीमद्भागवतम की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 13th chapter, entitled as Dhritarashtra Quits Home. Text 19. 19, right? Pratikriya na Yasya iha kutaschit karhichit Prabhu saha esha Bhagavan kalaha sarvesham naha samagataha pratikriya na yasyeha kutaschit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala sarvesham naha samagata pratikriya na yasyeha kutaschit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala sarvesham naha samagata pratikriya na yasyeha kutaschit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala sarvesham naha samagata. Please repeat. Pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu Bhagavan kala sarvesham samagata pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala sarvesham samagata pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala sarvesham samagata pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu sarvesham sarvesham samagata pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu sarvesham kutachit karhichit Prabhu sayesha samagata kutachit karhichit Prabhu sayesha sarvesham samagata pratikriyana yasyeha kutachit karhichit Prabhu sayesha Bhagavan kala word to word meaning, translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Pratikriya, remedial measure. Now there is none. Yasya, of which, Iha, in this material world, Kutaschit, by any means, Karhichit, or by anyone, Prabhu, O my Lord, Saha, that, Eshaha, positively, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Kalaha, eternal time, Sarvesham, of all, Naha, of us, Samagataha, arrived. Translation. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material world. My Lord, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as eternal time, Kala, that has approached us all. Purport. There is no superior power which can check the cruel hands of death. No one wants to die, however acute the source of bodily sufferings may be. Even in the days of so-called scientific advancement of knowledge, there is no remedial measure either for old age or for death. Old age is the notice of the arrival of death served by cruel time, and no one can refuse to accept either summon calls or the supreme judgment of eternal time. This is explained before Dhritarashtra because he might ask Vidur to find out some remedial measure for the imminent fearful situation, as he had ordered many times before. Before ordering, however, Vidura informed Dhritarashtra that there was no remedial measure by anyone or from any source in this material world. And because there is no such thing in the material world, death is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said by the Lord Himself in the Bhagavad Gita, death cannot be checked by anyone from any source within this material world. Hiranyakashipu wanted to be immortal and underwent a severe type of penance by which the whole universe trembled. And Brahma himself approached him to dissuade Hiranyakashipu from such a severe type of penance. Hiranyakashipu asked Brahma to award him the blessings of immortality, but Brahma said that he himself was subjected to death even in the topmost planet. So how could he award him the benediction of immortality? So there is death even in the topmost planet of this universe, and what to speak of other planets, which are far, far inferior in quality to Brahmalok, the residing planet of Brahma. Wherever there is the influence of eternal time, there is this set of tribulations, namely birth, disease, old age and death, and all of them are invisible. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Vradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Gaur Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Some devotees want Hindi, I think, right? Hindi? Somebody can translate. Thank you so much. So I welcome you all for today's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. We are in a chapter, Dhritarashtra quits home. So we see previous words, yesterday's grace Ananta Chandra Prabhu is speaking on. So yesterday's translation as follows. Mahatma Vidura knew all these and therefore he addressed Dhritarashtra saying, My dear king, please get out of here immediately, do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you. Who is speaking these words? Vidura is speaking? And this, So 19th verse also? Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya. So here something it talks about the real problems of life. Birth, old age, disease and death. So I thought of speaking on these few things because when we attain human life, then we can understand these problems. Only human form of life, human body has that opportunity to understand the real problems of life. One thing, it's mentioned in purport that there is no such thing in the material world. Death is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada gives reference to Bhagavad Gita from 10th chapter, 34 words. Some of you know this verse. Krishna says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Aham means here, cha aham. Aham, Krishna says, aham means I. So Krishna says, I am all devouring death. Krishna says this in Gita, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. So Prabhupada says in purport, you all can hear, as soon as man is born, he dies at every moment. Scientists say that, even doctors say that our cells are replaced every 7 years, 6 months. Of course, we see every moment also some cells are dying and taking birth, but entire body may be. So every moment the cells are taking birth and dying. This is something very subtler, which is very, difficult to understand for any ordinary man. Nobody can understand so easily. Thus the death is devouring every living entity at every moment, but the last stroke is called death itself. Prabhupada said death means again sleeping for 9 months in the womb of mother. Death is simply changing the body. Just like old man when he becomes old, he thinks it's very uncomfortable, it's very problematic, old age is very suffering. So Krishna, what he does, if you now is not happy with old body, okay, now you again get new body. Again he gets new child's body. When he comes out, again he starts playing and going with school, and he feels happy. Now I got such a nice body. The same soul is experiencing different bodies in different circumstances. So Prabhupada says that death is Krishna. This is for not those who are devotees, this is for only those who are non-devotees. For devotees they see Krishna all the time. And as for future development, all living entities undergo 6 basic principles. You all know 6 basic principles? The living entity takes birth and at the end it dies. 2 things are done. And it grows, body is growing, you see, our bodies are growing, and it remains for some time in this world, for some time it remains, and then again it produces some byproducts, like it gives birth to children, passes urine to some other, it's all byproducts, right? So that's how it is. So any living entity which has a symptom, you can understand it goes through these 6 changes. It takes birth and it dies, in the middle it happens, it grows and it dwindles, body becomes old. So we can understand whether the life is existing there or not by seeing these 6 symptoms. We can see in animals also. Animals also have these 6 changes of life. They take birth, they also give birth to children, they also grow, they also become old, we can see. So Prabhupada is saying that. The first deliverance is from the womb, and that is Krishna. So here the problem is that when the jiva comes to this world, it's not so easy to get birth, human body. Although we see our bodies, they may look so beautiful externally, but the birth is something, is very big suffering it is. You can open 3rd canto. So we'll see how the child suffers in the womb of mother. We all have come from that stage of life, from so many lifetimes. अनादिकाल से हम माँ का गर्भ से बाहर आ रहे हैं. 3rd canto 31st chapter. Yeah, 5th verse. You can go to 5th verse. 3rd canto. You can show the first translation. Just translation. Don't open up. Just translations. 3rd canto, 31st chapter. So this chapter entitled as Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. So one of the things it talks about how Jiva takes birth in this material world. So you see the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the results of his work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body. You all know how the living entity enters into the semen? You all know? So when the Shishi Radha Madhav ki, Shishi Gaunita ki, Shishi Jagannath Baldev Subhadramaya Sudarshan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. When the Jiva comes to this material world, when his piety, I heard in the middle from Gita, somewhere I heard, in the 8th chapter or somewhere, that when his piety is over, he is pushed down, he is thrown by the denizens of heavenly planets, and he comes and falls on the clouds. And from the clouds, he comes through the rains, the soul I am saying, you all can remember in future. The soul comes and falls on the rains, clouds. From the clouds, when it rains, to the rains it comes to the earth. It goes to the earth. When the grains are grown, it enters the grains. And when grains are eaten by a male person, female, the soul enters into the grains, and when that person eats, that's how the semen forms in the body. Semen is one of the forms of bloods, one of the kinds of bloods. How it forms, bones, blood, they are all stages. Through the semen, when man and woman unites, the soul enters into the womb of a mother. And there it starts forming ovum, and how it forms, now it's mentioned here. One of you can read for second translation, one can each. Mic is there? So this is a stage we all have come through. It's not that only some jivas are taking birth, but whoever is coming to this material world, they all have to face these problems. Second translation.
On the first night, the sperm and ovum mix, and on the 5th night, the mixture ferments into a bubble. On the 10th night, it develops into a form like a plum, and after that, it gradually turns into a lump of flesh or an egg, as the case may be.
Next.
In the course of a month, a head is formed, and at the end of 2 months, the hands, feet, and other limbs take shape. By the end of 3 months, the nails, fingers, toes, body, hair, bones, and skin appear. As do the organ of generation and the other apertures in the body, namely the eyes, nostrils, ears, and mouth, and anus.
And for a doctor to understand how the child is growing, they have to do all kinds of experiments. They have to do, but Bhagavatam directly says what all happens in the womb of mother. We all were in such kind of situation once upon a time. My age is 26. 26 years back, I was completely tightly packed. Such circumstances we were all going through. Something very horrible place it is. It's something terrible place. Dark. Womb of mother is compared to it's like dark room it is. And where child is completely packed. The soul is growing in that. Next.
Within 4 months from the date of conception, the essential ingredients of the body, namely child, blood, flesh, fat, bone, marrow, and semen, come into existence. At the end of 5 months, hunger and thirst make themselves felt and at the end of 6 months, the fetus enclosed by the amnion begins to move on the right side of the abdomen.
Continue, somebody else. You can read.
During its nutrition from the food and drinks taken by the mother, the fuse grows and remain in the abomination resistance of stool and urine, which is breeding place of all kinds of worms.
So it's not so easy, comfortable place in the womb of the mother. It's so much uncomfortable, so much blood, urine, stool, so all things are there. Worms are biting the child. For 2-3 mosquitoes bite only, we immediately become conscious, right? But you see how uncomfortable situation it is. Yeah, please continue.
Beaten again and again all over the body by the hungry worms in the abdomen itself, the child suffers terrible agony because of his tenderness. He thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition.
Can you imagine? Moment after moment, the child become unconscious. But when we come out, we don't realize the pains which we have undergone in the womb of mother. It's something very horrible it is. We forget also. We forget, we don't remember. But by fortunately, if someone comes in contact with the association of devotees, and he comes to know all these things, that how we suffered in the womb of mother. Bhagavatam says, otherwise there is no chance for knowing how we suffered. There's no way at all. There's no way. If there is no scriptures, if there are no saintly people, and there's no way how we were into the womb of mother. So Bhagavatam clearly describes how we were all once upon a time facing this situation. Okay, continue.
Owing to the mother's eating bitter, pungent foodstuffs or food which is too salty or too sour, the body of the child incessantly suffers pains which are almost intolerable.
So when the mother eats something very bitter, the child starts moving inside something, it's like uncomfortable situation. And I saw in personally. So sometimes when the child moves inside, when mother eats bitter things, the child's arms and all is visible on the skin of the mother, the abdomen. The skin, it extends. The impressions of the child's fingers from inside, it is appeared on the womb of mother. But the parents feel very happy, my children's fingers have developed and now I see. But mother has taken something pungent or something too bitter, too salty. The child is suffering like anything in the womb of mother, that they don't realize. But it is suffering, but the parents don't have that knowledge. Okay, I have done something, I have eaten something wrong. Yeah, continue.
Placed within the amnion and covered outside by the intestines, the child remains lying on one side of the abdomen. His head turned downwards, his belly and his back and neck are like a bow.
Prabhupada says, if we were put into such kind of situation, even for few moments, we will die, we cannot remain. It's something, special. Prabhupada says at one place, in such a situation also, still the child is alive. It is something Maya's very special benediction it is. Intolerable. See, all worms are biting all over. It's not that one part it is biting, okay. No, it's the head it is not biting. Everywhere practically. Everywhere worms are biting. Everywhere it is. It's so much heat inside. Just see, if I hold, my body is too much hard. You can understand how much heat it is inside. The same heat is there inside the body of mother, and that heat also the child has to tolerate. And you can understand how the child is benedicted to tolerate such kind of pain in the womb of mother. How much tolerance the child is given. It's not so easy. Prabhupada says in purport you can read, Madhur Kanya Prabhu, open this purport.
If a grown man were put into such a condition as a child within the abdomen, completely entangled in all respects. It would be impossible for him to live even for a few seconds. Unfortunately, we forget all these sufferings and try to be happy in this life, not caring for the liberation of the soul from the entanglement of birth and death. It is an unfortunate civilization in which these matters are not plainly discussed to make people understand the precarious condition of material existence.
Next translation. Ninth.
The child thus remained just like a bird in a cage, without freedom of movement. At the time, if the child is fortunate, he can remember all the travels of his past 100 births. And he grieves wretchedly. What is the possibility of peace of mind in that condition?
There is an example is given in Gita that a lady is taking care of the parrot in a cage. So parrot is not given food, but the lady is just busy in pampering that cage. It's nicely brushing, coloring. In the due course of time, what happened? Parrot died. So the situation of the entire modern civilization is like this. They're just busy in pampering this body, which is just nothing but lump of blood, urine, stool and all. Just busy in pampering this body. But the real person is a soul. So civilization is misdirected civilization. Continue, next translation.
Thus, and with the development of consciousness from the 7th month after his conception, the child is tossed downward by the aids that press the embryo during the weeks preceding delivery. Like the worm's born of the same filthy abdominal cavity, he cannot remain in one place.
Next.
The living entity in this frightful condition of life, bound by 7 layers of material ingredients, prays with folded hands, appealing to the Lord who has put him in that condition.
Read purport of this for 2-3 lines.
It is said that when a woman is having labor pains, she promises that she will never again become pregnant and suffer from such a severely painful condition. Similarly, when one is undergoing some surgical operation, he promises that he will never again act in such a way so as to become diseased and have to undergo a medical surgery. Or one falls into danger, he promises that he will never again make the same mistake. Similarly, the living entity, when puts into a hellish condition of life, prays to the Lord that he will never again commit sinful activities and have to be put into the womb for repeated birth and death.
Continue.
In this hellish condition, within the womb, the living entity is very much afraid of being born again. But when he is out of the womb, when he is in full life and good health, he forgets everything and commits again and again the same sins for which he was put into that horrible condition of existence.
So that's how the child, suffers in the womb of mother and comes out and again forgets everything because of the influence of mind. When the child comes out, that is also not so easy to come out. Where the child comes out, that area sometimes Prabhupada says that's so narrow, and sometimes the child comes out dead also. Child comes out dead condition. So it's not so easy, birth is not so easy. From the womb to term, there is constant suffering in the womb of mother. When we come out, there's a death, the old age, so painful it is, the disease. That's why scriptures advise from the age of 5 years we should practice Krishna consciousness. We all have this mentality of lording it over material nature, all jivas. They come to this material world to lord over material nature, to become master. Everybody wants to become master, but our nature is servant. Like there is one Jamindar is Chaitanya Charitam, his name is Subuddhi Rai. Subuddhi Rai, he kept a servant, is a Mohammedan servant, a boy, he was a small boy. He kept him as his servant. Sometimes what boy used to do is to steal in Subuddhi Rai's house. And Subuddhi Rai punished him one time, chastised him with a cane. He has stricken him with cane. So there was mark on his back. So this boy, same boy, after some crook or hook, he occupied the position of Nawab Hussain Shah. So Hussain Shah, he became a Hussain Shah. So one time his wife inquired, "What is this mark on your back? I see." So then Hussain Shah told that in my childhood I used to do some mischievous activities. Then Subuddhi Rai one time is beaten me with this. Then wife became so agitated. Immediately she said, "Okay, kill him, kill Subuddhi Rai." Then Hussain Shah said, "How can I kill him? I am very grateful to him. I am under him in my childhood." Then wife, what she requested is, now you convert him to Muhammadan. Then he throws some, wife requested, now he throws some water. They have some kamandalu. In olden days, that's how they convert some other caste to Muslims. Like they have some kamandalu and they throw water, and now you are a Muslim now. So that's how Subuddhi Rai became a Muslim. So the point is that he wanted to become master. You see, childhood, he is a servant. Servant is what? Servant means he should be servant only, right? He wanted to occupy the position of a master. One of the examples is given here is Hiranyakashipu. He wanted to become Brahma. He wanted to occupy the position of Brahma so that he can control everybody. And he was doing such a severe tapasya. He was standing on his toes like this, not like this also. With fingers he is standing and he is keeping his hands like this and he is looking towards the sky. Stopping all his prana, aids in the movements of the aids in the body. And such 100 celestial years, something like that, he was doing tapasya. When he was doing tapasya, so much heat is coming from his head, all the upper planetary system, the demigods started running here and there. They left their positions, they left their places, and they all approached Brahma. And they all start explaining that, you see, Hiranyakashipu is doing such a tapasya to please you. He wants to occupy your position. Then start explaining that. What all his thoughts, what all Hiranyakashipu is thinking, then start explaining to Brahma. That Hiranyakashipu is thinking, okay, Dhruvaloka will also be annihilated at the end of the millennium. So I don't want that. I want Brahma's position. Because everybody is under control of Brahma, secondary creator. Then Brahma, the Devatas request, then Brahma goes in swan with Bhrigu and Daksha, some other sages. And when he was going in swan plane, he couldn't identify where Hiranyakashipu is actually. Because Hiranyakashipu is completely surrounded by ant hill, bushes, grass, it's mentioned in Bhagavatam, grass and bamboo sticks. Ant hill. And somehow or other they found out, and then some conversations happen. He offers obeisance. Then he throws kamandalu water from Brahma's kamandalu water, and then he becomes fresh. He gets so youthful body, something like that. His body becomes molten golden color. Then he starts asking boon, I should not be killed by this daytime, nighttime, neither by any human being nor a dead animal, not a dead animal, any animal. Now from Devatas, like that, not in daytime, not in night time, not in the sky, not on the land. So like that he starts asking so many benedictions. But the scripture says even Devatas, they all have to leave their bodies one day. Except Shiva. Shivatas way something different. Prabhupada is saying in morning lecture, right? You all heard? So Shivatas was something different. But everybody has subjected to death. There is one bhajan, it says, Koto cheturana mari mari javotana tuya diyavasana. Crores and crores of Brahmas are taking birth and dying. Natuya adi avasana. Whereas Krishna, you don't have beginning and Adi and Natuya, Adi, Avasan. There is no beginning and end for you. To he janami puna, to he samavata, sagara lahari samana. Brahma is taking birth and dying just like waves. Sagara lahari samana. Waves, they come and again go back. Similarly, crores of Brahmas are taking birth and again they are entering into your body. So that's how this world is. The cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. After coming to ISKCON, sometimes when I see, of course we were influenced with so many people around our villages and all. But I was just thinking how in front of my eyes so many people have left their bodies. Some are old, some are young, some are classmates. Something it's, sometimes they come into my mind because I was in touch with them, some of them. So when I see really this place is a place for suffering, it's not so easy. Ultimately we have to die. So what we have to do with this civilization, so-called advancement? The jiva suffers like anything in the womb. When he comes to construct a building or purchase a car, just to show his opulences to others, okay, I have this much. For that also he has to struggle. Child does not want to go to school, still is forced to go to school. Because our nature is to always be in the company of Krishna. All the time there is suffering. Youth, they have so many expectations. They want to achieve so many things. When the desire is not fulfilled, they become angry, they become frustrated. So youth is also not so easygoing. Old age, and when someone gets family life, again there is a home, there is expansion of wife. Sri means, one of the meaning is, Sri means expands. And one gets wife, and wants wife, bangla, childrens, they have to be sent to schools. So many responsibilities, so many. It's not so easy going life, human life is. It's a special responsible life it is. Very special responsible life. So the scriptures advises us that one should inquire, who am I, why am I suffering into this world? Only civilized human being can inquire how I have suffered in the womb of mother, how terrible place it is, so nasty place material world is. Prabhupada says material world is full of contamination. Full of contamination. So we should always, of course, whenever I feel frustrated, at least I try to chant Hare Krishna. Because scriptures advises, Krishna says you always chant, Satadam Kirtayanto Mam. That is the only way to come out of this cycle of birth and death. There is no other way. The only way is chanting Hare Krishna. There is no other way. So we have got such a great opportunity to be in the ISKCON movement. ISKCON is the only movement which is teaching the people to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Nowhere in the entire earthly planet these things are discussed. The cycle of birth and death, the soul's existence. Nowhere it is discussed. Nowhere. Nobody talks about these things. Are my dear child, you are in my womb. Now you got an opportunity. Now you have to remember God. Nobody teaches. It's by great fortune we have come here to this material world. Unfortunately, we met Srila Prabhupada, who is personally sent by Krishna, and he has wrote so many books. You can see how nicely translated all the purports. Such wonderful purports. It's crystal clear the knowledge is. So this is real knowledge. Bhagavad Gita says, 13th chapter, 8th verse, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. The knowledge is to see that there is a death, that there was a birth, there is a old age, there are diseases. This is the knowledge. Krishna says there are 18 kinds or 19 kinds. There are 18 or 19 items like humility, pridelessness, renunciation of sense objects, like that. So one of the things is mentioned that the knowledge means to see that there is a birth, there is a old age, there is a disease, and there is a death. That's knowledge. And the ultimate thing in that mention it is, if it is connected to unallied devotion, service to Krishna, all these items, then all these things has value. Simply having this knowledge of birth, old age, disease, death, without devotional service, something no value. We should have knowledge, we should perform pure devotional service. At the same time, we should understand the nature of this material world. The Upanishad says we should cultivate both knowledge of nescience, knowledge of Krishna. Something it says like this. Only such kind of person can get out of this cycle of birth and death, right? So we are very fortunate to get association of Vaishnavas. It's very easy to understand these things when we are with devotees. When we go out, we may not understand the nature of this material world. So this is very bad place. The material world is a very bad place. Bad means it causes us bad. It gives us pains. There is a death, there is a birth, there is a old age, there is a disease, all these things. So Prabhupada gave such a wonderful programs. We all should serve him, and so that at the end, by his mercy, by mercy of Vaishnavas, we may remember Krishna and we may go back to Godhead, so that eternally we can stay with Krishna. The scripture says even staying in this body also one can realize that he is not the body, spirit, soul. I see in ISKCON many people are becoming pure devotees, many devotees. Something through scriptures, when we observe, we can also, many devotees have become pure devotees. So this is a genuine process, this is a bona fide process. ISKCON is teaching us practically how to come out of the cycle of birth and death. So it's a great boon which Prabhupada has created for all of us. So we should utilize, of course I should utilize, so that we can realize our eternal relationship with Krishna. We can realize that we are different from this body. Thank you all very much. If you have any questions or comments, yes, we will end here. Madhur, microphone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So you told about the soul entering into the semen. You told that when piety is over, they are pushed down. So this is for like the souls, those who have gone to heaven. But the souls which have gone down, hellish planets, how they come into semen?
I heard they are trained in hellish planets.
Sorry?
Like some,
Means from heaven they come in rain and through grains. But from down, how they come into semen? From hellish planets. Which process like?
Means they also, semen, means they also eat food and all, no? Means they are trained, the soul is taken to hellish planets. So they are trained, if someone supposed to become pig, so they are trained in that. They are trained, and after that what happens, I don't know exactly. It's something very subtle laws of nature. Sachinandan Hari Prabhu can explain. Yeah.
The semen is formed from the food that we eat. Okay, so food is coming from earth. So earth, you know how the food is formed in the earth. So there is rain coming from up. So some souls are coming from up. So some are coming from down. So we don't know. It is all beyond our,
You can tell
beyond our imagination how the soul comes there. But generally it is the life source, prana is there in that food. Air, water, it's not just food. In the air, in the water, we are taking water, we are taking air. In that also prana is there. So jiva is there, he can be anywhere. Sarvagataha, Krishna says. He is there everywhere, he can be everywhere. So it comes from anywhere, it can come. And it's beyond our imagination. What we can know is the food that we take, the drinks that we take, that's how they enter into it. Therefore, if you take good food, then your consciousness is good, then the children that come out will be good. If you take bad food, then consciousness is bad, and the children that takes birth is also bad. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. I have one more question, Prabhu. Like here you described about the pain or miseries the soul go through in this material world. It is so like pain giving to everyone, and we forget. But you see, although it is so much suffering is there, still Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inspires us. Mam janmani janmani sware. He inspires us not to aspire for liberation also. So why he does that? Means how we can see that? Because
for pure devotees, no? That's
means they will also go through this pain of birth, death, old age, disease. Means
no, they are. I don't think even they go, they may not feel all these things because they have realized, just like Pariksit Maharaj, he was in the womb. He was not like feeling pain like us. I don't think they suffer like ordinary child suffers in the womb of mother. They are self-fully realized souls. No? One place it says the saintly person take all kinds of sufferings just to help to deliver the all fallen souls who are wandering in this material world. They are ready to accept all kinds of miseries. Where it is mentioned? In Bhagavatam somewhere. Many places it is mentioned. They are ready to accept all kinds of tribulations. Like one time somebody came and that Sri Sampradaya Pujari, he says, your deity is there, everybody will come and touch your feet, and for that you have to suffer. And Prabhupada says, I came to take all their sins. I am here for that. So pure devotees, they come to this material world in spite of all situations, just to please the Lord. Please, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you told that we can understand the scriptures by being in association of devotees. So can you elaborate on this point?
Elaborate, what should I elaborate? Like we were having everyday class, right? Every day we are having discussion. Like you all have many questions. So your questions are answered in the... So that's the benefit. You have so many doubts because by nature of human being is that he has questions. One has to inquire. So one who has advanced in knowledge, one who has read these books, it becomes very easier. They will clarify all our doubts. Like before coming to ISKCON, we never heard of Mayavadis or impersonalism, or we never heard that there is Krishna's external energy, internal energy. But when we come here now, we understand that, okay, the people are like this, there are certain kinds of people who accept God, there are certain kind of scriptures themselves they say. And when we discuss among the devotees, it becomes very easier to understand. No?
There is one more term that Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. What does that, is it connected to this thing? Or
This thing means which thing?
this association of devotees?
Yeah, scripture says if we just chant Hare Krishna and perform devotional service, all things will be revealed from inside heart. Just like Brahma does not know how to create the universe. So Lord gave that spiritual knowledge from inside. There was none to help Brahma. There's nobody. When Brahma took birth, he was alone. He was confused what to do. Nobody is there, practically is alone. Then he does tapasya, then all spiritual knowledge, how to create these universes, how to create the living entities, bodies. So all this knowledge is revealed from inside. This is something very higher knowledge, but Prabhupada says, you go on dancing and chanting in front of the deities, everything will be revealed in due course of time. Just chant.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Grandhara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.